SVG, it is 7:45, and that means it's time for us to hear from Kingsley DeFreitas with today's commentary. So, Kingsley, good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, Miss Samuel. Miss Samuel, I try to pay attention to everything in St. Vincent. I noticed that before your time, or a little before my time, when a man or a woman become a police officer, it was just a police officer job. Today we see young people in the police force as career officers. And it seems as though they have more opportunity to become a little bit more than a police officer. But at times I wonder. I look at some police officers today, the ones who are retired, and every day you go in Kingston, you could see the amount of retirees in or around the police station. They might see them opposite in the area we call the Tokyo. Most of the time, they are just wasting time. And you often wonder what sort of incentives are being created in the Royal Citizens and encourage police force to encourage young men and young women when they become officers. They should have a plan for retirement. Most of them I know just come in town and walk up and down whole day. Some of them try to be bailiffs and other things. But the majority of the ones I see, they are a begging institution. Give me this, give me that, give me that. Hoping that people will feel sorry for them and give them some handout. But I know you have a cop chat this morning, and that is one of the reasons why it's in the city, because I think that we don't have enough time to have a discussion. But here what happened. I often wonder why retired police officers don't seem to have, if not all, most of them, a retirement plan for life after being a police officer. And it doesn't necessarily mean that police officers, there are other persons who retire who just walk around and hoping that people give them handouts and depend on a little stipend from their retirement or what they get from NIS. That might be something, but not as credible as it ought to be. Because there are bosses who work in the civil service, and we tell them that they are finding difficulty to make ends meet because some of them acquire loans and have mortgage soon after. Most of them leave the police force they have not to contend with. And I often wonder what the purpose of the social welfare department in the Royal Police Force, and why officers seem to find themselves on the street plying a begging trade to see if people can sorry for them. And I'm hoping that this commentary will open up the young one's eyes who are better placed as career police officers, and they could put things in place so that when the time comes, they'll have a better retirement plan. Like I said a few weeks ago, when Junior Bacchus was the chairman of the National Insurance Services, he encouraged parents are going to have to open a window at the NIS. So self-employed folks like myself could pay anything, and when we get a little older, we get some money to continue some level of living. But my mind is why you see a lot of retired police officers in and around the central police station are close proximity, trying to see if they could apply a trade. And I'm wondering if there is a need for we as Vincentians to make sure that when we walk in, we have a plan for retirement. Because I don't know if you observe it, Miss Samuel, but there are lots of people in this who are struggling to make ends meet after having gainful employment. Only once the people in Senegal appears to be doing well, you become a politician, you do two terms, and you become pensionable for the rest of your life. But other people like, have to do 33 and a half years. And I don't know if you know, Miss Samuel, I was told by an officer that he returned to duty after 3 years absence on the job. And the reason why he returned, the city authorities taking back police officers in the police force who did not take the vaccine. I mean, what about other persons who didn't take the vaccine are still struggling on the job? Well, let me tell you something. Dr. Gonzalez could try to correct this one, but whenever election is called, Jimmy Prince and Ralph Gonzalez go to pay a price for the pressure they put Vincent under. It has people in Senegal having difficulties because of the vaccine mandate. I might be one of the persons, or the only person who speak out about the negative impact it's having on me. Dr. Thompson will come and say, because we have underlying problems like diabetes, that is what created the impact of our illness. But people have to satisfy themselves, and you continue to have a wonderful day, and I'll see you right here tomorrow morning, 7:45.
All right. Have a good one, Kingsley.
All
right. And that was today's commentary with Kingsley. And Kingsley is asking, what is the plan? Or really and truly, is there a plan for police officers after they retire? And yes, I think that this question can extend past police officers. All right. So I saw a few persons make comments on the WhatsApp while Kingsley was speaking. So let me just read a few of those, and then I will give my commentary. All right. So somebody is saying, I think when people retire, they don't want to stay home and do nothing. Sometimes depression can set in. So in order for that not to happen, they'll walk around. The person continues, once you've been working for a significant period of time, your body gets used to getting up at a certain time, and it becomes a second nature or habit. All right. So that's one person's contribution towards what Kingsley said. All right. Okay, so this is a separate shout out. This is Bob giving a shout out to Kojo. All right, so Kojo, you would know what that's about, but that's a shout out there from Bob. All right, and somebody else is saying people spend their life in occupations which require them to listen and follow instructions from others. Okay, so I'll leave that part there. All right. So this is interesting, and it is something that we have touched on a little before in terms of, do persons actually plan or think about what they are going to do after retirement? All right. If you wish to lend your thoughts to this conversation, the number to call is 457-9997. Remember that we are live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. All right. So for me to just give a few of my thoughts on this. No, so Kingsley was making mention, he used as an example, persons, retired police officers who are going to, I guess, the station, or they're hanging around in the station. And as part of what one of the persons said here is, in a sense, I can understand why they are going to go back to familiar territory. All right. These are the individuals who this is in the context of police officers or retired police officers. This is where they would have spent, or they may have spent, a significant portion or part of their lives. And they feel a sense of familiarity. And it's almost like, I guess, in a sort of a way, like their lifeline, right? This is what they were used to. So sometimes for some persons, it might be difficult for them to break what they were so used to or what they were so accustomed to. In some instances, there may also be a case where a fraternity exists, right? In that it's a brotherhood that some of them may have had with several of their colleagues, and as a result, they feel that tie or that connection, and it's difficult for them to break that connection. Another thing that I could probably say to this is, all right, so we have a call. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Roleza.
Mo-
How are you?
I am okay. All right, so I guess you're one of those in a position to speak on this. Go ahead.
No, I called because I'm a former police officer.
Right.
And I don't like the way Kingsley spoke about the police.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right? He was very disrespectful to the former police officers when he said they are walking and begging and giving this to our handout and all.
Mm.
Kingsley must know what to come on the radio talk. He can't be pulling down the former police like that. I'm not saying you don't have a few that doing this, but you don't come on the radio and capitalize everybody in the same way. Huh? I'm a former policeman. I don't feel about it.
Mm.
Huh?
Okay, so what
All right,
has...
thank you very much.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, so there's somebody who... All right, so they're disagreeing with part of what Kingsley said. They say that it's not necessarily a case where some persons do it, but it's not like maybe an overwhelming majority. All right, so, okay. All right, so I am just going to speak in a general context now with persons who have retired, right? Not just the police officers, but when we talk about this issue of retirement, I don't think that many persons think long-term or think in advance of what they are going to do with themselves when they retire, which is why many persons, unless you have, let's say, a close bond or a close connection or a social group, or, you're living with family, etc., it is a significant adjustment for persons. You are used to getting up every day with a sense of purpose, with a sense of, okay, so this is what it is that I have to do with my day. Love it or hate it. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Roleza.
Morning.
I am a good friend of Kingsley, but I'm annoyed because of the statement that he made a while ago.
Okay.
Because I'm a retired police officer, and when I retired 21 years ago, I never went back around the barrier because I wanted to get up, and I don't like the road that they use that we are going on to beg for living. And so
all right, caller.
My lands and I work my lands.
Caller.
When it is man,
Caller.
everybody they come and I relax at my home because I
all right, caller.
So I don't go around the barracks.
Okay,
I beg anybody for anything, and I do not like how we
okay.
Statement this one.
All right, okay.
I agree with the former caller.
All right.
I'm a good friend of Kingsley, and I do not like what he said.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's another person disagreeing with the way in which Kingsley put it over, right? So another person on the live is saying that they ain't begging for sure. He have to know who he is talking about. And maybe it is he knows who he is talking about. Of course, I would not necessarily want to believe that it's an overwhelming majority, but I guess he does indeed know who he's talking about, right? So back to the point that I was making is that unless somebody puts a plan into place in terms of what it is you're going to do with yourself after, then you are going to find yourself at the mercy of others, right? You are going to be there just maybe getting by based on your NIS. Maybe you're going to have to get by with the... Oh, okay. All right, just very distracted there for 1 minute. Go ahead. You are going to have to get by on the support or the assistance of your family members, but there is something that I have to look at as well, in that I am not sure how many persons, so maybe let's say my generation, or even those after me, that they tend to think ahead, or they have started to put things in place because they recognize, well, number one, they're not making as many children as our parents and grandparents did, right? Because I know that some persons were of this school of thought as well, where if you make plenty children, at least one of them must turn around and take care of you, all right? But now, because we have children of people nowadays making less children, they are trying to set themselves up in such a way when they retire, they do not have to depend on someone else, all right? Or they don't become the responsibility of someone else. I would also have to say that the opportunities that maybe exist for some of us now is a little bit better, right? In that we are thinking ahead. We're not necessarily waiting until we are at the age of maybe 35 to get a home, or at the age of 40 to get a home. Remind as well too that the circumstances of everybody would be different. And because it's different, the financial capabilities of persons to put things in place would have been different back then as well. There are many single parents who, or even single mothers, who would have prioritized raising their children rather than trying to secure themselves for the future, right? They may have, and securing themselves means that they were just working with limited means. So they would have been using this money to push their children through school, to be able to ensure that there is a house over, a roof over their children's head, to ensure that they woke up every morning with food to eat, as opposed to maybe taking whatever little they could squeeze out of maybe the small salaries that they were making in the first instance to put into a retirement plan. There's also another thing as well too, that not many persons, when you just start to work, you consider that at some point you are going to retire. I'd always say that one of my biggest regrets was that at the age of 18, when I started working, that I did not start trying to put money into a retirement or a savings plan, because I legit looked at it as I had 40 something years until I retired. And at some point later on, then I would try to get that retirement plan, not recognizing or not realizing that the later I waited is that the more money it was going to cost for me to be able to benefit from this savings plan later on in life. So even with that, is that whole education, about starting to plan early is what is also missing. I know that I was exposed to, insurance agents coming around and, telling me, or telling what I was teaching at that time, telling us why it is as young teachers, we should start saving. But I know for me, I'm not sure about the others, but I know for me that I did not look at it as something that was important. However, now, because I'm a little bit closer to that age of retirement, as opposed to when I first started, it is one of those regrets that I have in life. All right. So it is going to be a challenge, but I don't know what I see 4 police officers in front of me. I don't know if they have started thinking about what oh, you're not a police officer? Okay, all right. I see 3 police officers in front of me. I don't know if they have started considering what it is that they will be doing when it comes to that age of retirement, but it is something that many of us have to consider, not just about the financial aspect, but in terms about what it is we are going to be getting up every day to do with the rest days of our lives until God takes us home. So it's food for thought for all of us, whether we are at age 18 or we are approaching age 65. All right. So, yeah. With that, we are going to head on out and bring to you today's Cop Chat in a bit. Time here in SVG, it is 8, we're quickly approaching 8:04, and our time check came to you with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss